bass resonator here. This is going to be my input into the collaboration for the month of June. The theme is fantasy, and I'm going to be painting with, that is black UV resin. So I've got my black UV resin, my UV flashlight, and my paintbrush, and I'm going to paint on this silicone mat for a while. Sea creatures, FantaSEA. I hope they will allow this. There's one layer down, and I'm going to paint over the top of that layer to try and give it more. Well, I'm not going to explain the whole situation yet, but I'm going to make it not just a silhouette, but also a 3D silhouette. That's my attempt. I've already cured it from the underside. This is a pale white silicone mat. And I have the rest of my resin, the UV resin in the little pot hidden over to the side so that it won't cure. Don't want to lose my resin by exposing it to the UV light before it's time. And I have to make these small enough, you'll see why as I go along. I need to make about 3 of these sharks. Okay, now to keep this in the depth that I want, I'm not going to do any more on the tail. I'm just going to do more on the body. He's just watching, like, sitting there watch paint dry. Now his pectoral fins, I'm not going to do any more on those either. Just build up the body. I don't know if I'm going to be able to create a dorsal fin with UV resin. If I can, that would be amazing. That's one amazing song. And then there's, isn't it amazing? all kinds of different songs out there. After I finish, I'm spot curing this. I'll put it under a big lamp after I get all three of these done. Then I'm going to try and do some other possible plants or coral to go along with it. I know how I can do the dorsal fin. Yes, yes, yes. I will draw the dorsal fin right here. And then I can attach it. Dun, 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 dun. John Williams, epitome of music composer for movies. Oh man. Dun, 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 dun. Jurassic Park, the Harry Potter series, Jaws, Superman, the original Superman, Christopher Reeve. Such a sad situation with how he had that accident. Okay, so there are the dorsal fins. I'm going to be making tree sharks. Tree sharks. Tree? I didn't know sharks lived in trees. This kind does. I kill myself, as Alf would say. I don't know if Alf was ever a show that made it across the pond. Alf stood for alien life form, and it was this funny looking little orange haired creature with a snout. He liked eating cats and stuff, but it was, I don't know, maybe it was because I was watching it during my early teen years that it just, he just cracked me up. And that was one of the things he used to say, I kill me, because he'd say jokes and stuff, and either they wouldn't get it or they'd look at the camera like, oh. Nowadays, you know, they used to call them groaners. Nowadays, the kids call them dad jokes. I grew up calling them puns because my dad was a wordsmith, and he loved play on words. And I do too. My students, probably not so much. Wonder what in the world I'm doing. Why are you doing that, sir? It's funny. No, it's not. Well, I'm a dad, so get over it. Call it the dad joke. Make these dorsal fins a little thicker. Thick and rich and chocolate that you can't drink it slow. And by going thicker, it makes them darker. Come on, shark. I need you to get thicker, quicker. And I hope this peels up off this mat easily. If they don't, man, all this work for nothing. Well, I'm going to stop talking. I'll end up putting this in hyperspeed or and just let it go. I may talk over, do a voiceover on it, but you can see what I'm doing. As I'm adding more layers, I have to cure frequently because that black UV resin won't allow for a real thick coat. It won't cure the whole way through, so that's why I'm just doing little bit by little bit. That strap really is annoying. It's helpful when you're trying to hold on to it, that flashlight when you're walking along, but man, it'll get in the way and then get right in the middle of a project. It probably got 3 or 4 episodes of UV resin on it. And underneath here, I'm curing the dorsal fins from the bottom side. I'm going to start peeling these off, and they're still sticky, so I probably didn't get it cured enough. I'm gonna have to wash my hands. Yep, one little bit more cure on it, and then I will set it in place. I will set it in place. I will set it in place. Crazy thing is being obstinate. Okay, so now I got it in place, but you see that little gap right there in the front? I'm gonna have to fix that, so I will build that up with more UV resin as I go along. And again, a little bit of cure, a little bit more resin. So now that gap in the front of the dorsal fin is gone. And now I'm starting my second shark or whale, whatever we want to call it, or porpoise. It was intended to be a shark, but you know, shark fins, I would have had to build up that tail instead of horizontal the way it is here. I would have to build it perpendicular because fish have tails that are perpendicular to their body. Mammals, whales, porpoisei, their flukes are flat. They're horizontal with their pectoral fins. So just keep adding layers. So these probably resemble more a type of whale, since that tail is, or fluke is flat. Yeah, this is taking a while. That's why I have it on the time lapse. There wasn't quite enough for me. It wasn't dark enough. That's why I went over that last little bit with more UV resin on the first one. Now that one, see how easy that was? Went right down there just like it was supposed to. That first one was just being obstinate. Build it up even a little bit more. Want to have these good and opaque so that you can see them through the rest of the resin in this project. And it's got kind of a humpback, ready for a saddle, I guess. So if you want to ride that one, I'm trying to fill that in, and it still it still sinks a little bit. Well, we'll just have one that had a scoliosis or something. Now I'm starting my third one, and sorry it's not all in the picture. I'm concentrating on painting and not looking at my viewfinder to see that I wasn't in the middle of the frame. But what I'm doing is basically the same as what I did with the others. Now I'm curing the underside and adding more layers. Isn't this fun? See, I could have gone out to a store and purchased some little tiny sharks or little tiny whales for this project, but I wanted to make sure they were done the right size and everything that I wanted. Now I'm in the middle of the frame. Now you're cooking with gas. Yeah. So continue building him up. And then I will start adding other items that are going to be going into this biodome type of feature. I don't know if you can tell what this is yet. Just out of the frame again. There we are. Thank you. It's like you heard me. What am I doing? Oh, I can guess. Have you been able to guess yet? If you haven't, I'll explain it later in the video. Leave you on pins and needles, in suspense even. And again, I have to just keep building it up so that you're going to be able to see these, because if they're not opaque enough, you're not going to be able to see through the feature that I have planned. Curing it from underside. And now to another feature. Again, out of frame. Seems like I would figure this out, huh? And another one. And another one bites the dust. Doom, 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 doom. Since I'm at it, I might as well just get after all of these different little features that I'm going to be adding into the thing. And another. Don't know if you'll be able to tell what these things all are yet. Curing each one. Going over and making one a little bit more opaque. You know, when you're dealing with a thick UV resin, it makes it a lot easier because it stays in place longer, so you have a little bit more time to work without it just running off. And this UV resin from Counterculture is really thick. So, but it also means I can't draw as thin of lines as I would like because it clings to the brush. So you can either paint with an acrylic paint and wait for that to dry, or do what I did here with UV resin. So yeah, that's what I do. Okay, I have the turtle's eyes in place. They're beautiful blue glass eyes, and I UV resined them into place, as you can see. And I finished all my little decorations. Those, I think they're going to end up not being sharks, but wait, the dolphins or something. Got them 3D, and I have some jellyfish and some coral, some greenery, some bluery, blue greenery, and captain's wheel, and some different corals, different types of corals. So yeah, this is the brain coral right here. Yep, I'm going to put a layer of resin in, a very thin layer, and I'm going to use this InterResin Original Aurora powder, and I'm going to get it set in place Not going to go very deep at all. I'm probably only going to cover just the center plates of this turtle shell. And it's going to be a very thin, a very little bit of this Aurora powder. Whoa. So that I'll be able to see through it very well. And then I'm going to start placing the different sharks or whales or whatever we want to call them. And I'm going to put them in a spiraling formation, sort of like when dolphins do it and whales do it, they blow bubbles and scare all the fish into the center. Well, it's either that or I can have a feeding frenzy of sharks. So it's up to you which one you want to do. But then I'm going to have around the edge is where I'm going to place the different corals and different things of that sort, and the jellyfish. So yeah, it's going to be really kind of a fantasy, a dream turtle, and a world within it. So it's sort of like a biodome. Yeah, got to mix some resin now. That first layer is cured enough for me to set a couple things in there. That one whale / shark is in the deep area. I got that helm's wheel back where you steer the animal from, the rear end. I got a piece of coral growing there, and a coral here in the green, and then a darker coral there, and I got the big jellyfish. And now I have a little bit of that resin went up to the head. Next, I'm going to put another layer of resin in, and this time I'm going to use a little bit of sky blue resin dye. And I'm not going to go very deep. There's going to be very little bit of resin going in there, but just one little bit at a time, and we will come up with a finished product for the FantaSEA collaborative event taking place June 5th through 7th or so is when I need to submit the video, and the collaboration will kind of happen after that. So, see you after I pour the next layer. As I am pouring in this sky blue resin, look at that aura powder that I put in there. Look what it's doing. Oh man, that's what I was hoping it would do, and it is. Yes, I am so happy, so happy, happy, happy. I am so happy, 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 happy. When this gets cured up, I will put in a few more animals and such in my fantasy. Get that drip. Okay, got it. Gotcha. Can you see in there? I'm really getting cheesy. Sorry. But this is... You don't know how much fun the crafting community can be, especially with the resiners, when they accept you in. And I have been, I guess, accepted in by a couple of groups, and man, coolness. I'm trying to get those different angles of that aura powder. When this gets unmolded, I'm trying to see. Now you can't see it too well. I wanted to be able to see the different levels, but yeah. This is going to be cool. It's going to be looking from the bottom of the ocean up. When this comes out of the mold, you'll be looking from the top of the ocean down. So each layer is going to get progressively darker. And yeah, fun. Time for the next pour. And if you look, it's a little different color than that. That's because I used Let's Resin Peacock Blue. Wow, I got a shadow right there. And there's some shiny in it as well. And that's because I used a drop of Marabou Rainbow Alcohol Ink. So, I put in that piece of coral, that little bit of bluery, the sponge, and the new smaller jellyfish, as well as the remaining 2 sharks / whales. And just like the Aurora was shimmering in that first layer of clear, the Marabou alcohol ink is shimmering in this one, which is kind of cool. It leads more to that kind of fantasy, which is what our theme is for this summer collaboration. Yeah, this is gonna be neat. I cannot wait to show it to you. If it comes out just like I hope it does, you'll be impressed. Going in with another pour. This time it's 2 drops of light green and 1 drop of sapphire blue. No more additives for this layer. This is 0.9 ounces. Oop, come on, focus now. Try and make sure there's no bubbles hanging out in there. Okay, 1 more layer to go. And then we'll be able to unmold. Have some cool things in the next layer planned. Okay, time for the final pour. It's clear with a drop of Marabou rainbow ink, so it'll have more of those little shiny things. But then I'm going to do some Petri effect using sapphire blue, cerulean, and turquoise, and then using Sinker White. Those are from Let's Resin. So here we pour in the last pour. I hope it's the last pour. I may have to mix up a little bit more of this. Yeah, I think I will. Yep, I'm gonna have to. Okay, well, and then it's gonna take a while before I drop my inks on there. So I will come back to you. Oh, and then the final coup de grace. I'm gonna put in some Larissi elf flakes after I've done the Sinker White and after it's stiffened up a little bit. These just to add some sparkle from underneath, even more sparkle. Blue, ice blue, and white elf flakes. Really cool stuff. Yep. Time for the alcohol inks. I'm going to start with sapphire all the way out on the extremities. And then they're not moving very much. Cerulean. Now we're getting a little bit of movement. And then turquoise. This resin's heating up pretty quick, so they're just not moving like I thought they would. Come on. Since that cerulean's moving a little better, fill in the gaps. One more gap I need to hit. Here and here. I shook up my white. Oi! It did not want to come out, and then all of a sudden it comes out with a squirt. Just a second here. It's like there was something stuck in the nozzle. Still wanting to spit. Come on now. Went and got my little opener. It's got a pin in that. Now we're getting somewhere. Okay, now look where it squirted. I have to clean that up. Let that set for a little bit, and then I'll do a little swirly whirly, and then put on the elf flakes. Yep. Had to use both hands to put those elf flakes on. And then the air conditioner kicked on and the vent started blowing those little flakes all over the place. Anyway, I'm going to let them sink by themselves. I'm not going to stir them in. I did the little swirly whirlies through the fin, the flippers. I went like this, and then backwards over here, and yeah, my alcohol ink exploded on me. And this, and then in the middle, I just did this big old. So you're probably not going to be able to see too much of that unless you're looking straight down on it. But from the side, hopefully you'll have a little bit more of that Petri effect. But then with these little sparklies, this elf flakes, this is going to be pretty. Now it's going to be hard to wait. But this has been fun. Thank you to all my subscribers. The number keeps growing. Wonderful. And people who buy me coffees. Those are good too. Thank you so much. I would encourage you to look at the description box and see all of the different other contributors in this collaboration, and go look at their videos too. I'm sure you're going to see some wonderful things with a theme like fantasy. The imagination is wide open. So thank you for watching. I'll come back with the unmolding and then some still shots. All done. Look at how shiny that is. Oh, no bubble on the tail. Amazing. Some of that elf flakes is loose. It just went flying up into the air. I don't know if you can see that or not, but I did. This part is easy to get out. It's the head that becomes the problem. Oh, there's one bubble on his chin. Right there. I'll have to get that fixed. Okay, let's see what this baby looks like. I can see a shark or a whale or whatever that's called. It's kind of dark. That means I'm going to have to pull out a light source. Dun dun dun. Oh. Dun dun dun. Have to sing my little tune twice. Yeah. Oh, that light source changes colors. The jellyfish isn't as visible as I'd like it to be, but you know, the other stuff is all there. I'll take it outside and get some pictures in the sun. First, let me turn off that light so you don't get blinded. Look at the eyes. Wow. Coolness. Okay. So, let me go get some you know what? I'll just pause this and take it out and get in the sun, and then I'll take some stills too. Okay, let's do that. Bringing it out to the sun was the perfect thing. You can see those little shinies going on in there. And you can sort of see some Petri effect taking place. Not as much as I had wanted, but you know. This it is super windy out here, and it's a hot wind blowing. There's this steering mechanism. Look at his head glisten. Ooh. Oh, sorry, I had to reposition that. Look at that eye. Cool. My FantaSEA Turtle. Check out everyone else's videos. That's what a collaboration is all about. Thank you.